Greetings to you all, and I do welcome you to this broadcast. Thank you for taking the time to join us. Mm, As you can see, this is Forward Guyana Movement, and we are here to have a very, very, very absolutely critical discussion on matters relating to our nation. That has to do with the Guyana Elections Commission, the bridge here in where I am, Linden, Region 10, and also I would like to say, the expected attitude of Irfaan as the president in relation to how we treat the press. Um, Tonight I'll be joined by our, I still consider her to be our presidential candidate in the elections we would have had, because this matter is, as far as I'm concerned, you're here tonight, like in 2020, still an open forum, and one that is open and subjected to quite a bit of interrogation. We believe that as a movement, it is our responsibility to continue to speak to our brothers and sisters here in Guyana and those who are spread across the world in what is called the diaspora. It is our responsibility to speak to all of you, for you to understand what is happening here, for you to be able to be in receipt of reports that are not controlled by an administration that seeks to threaten, intimidate, dominate, harass, victimize, as I call it, the new big word in the country, people who dare to speak the truth. I'm joined by my sister Manzo Walton this evening, tonight, and we shall be speaking to these very, very important matters, because something is significantly and terribly wrong with our people and with our nation, and it has to be set aright. The PPP insists on us acting as though it is well. I don't know if you're familiar with the story about the emperor's new clothes, but that's the attitude you have, where everybody must cheer and shout and say that they've done well, it's the best, and everything is fine. There's no discussion, there's no need to have any questions raised. Because if you dare to do that, then the typical strategy is to launch attacks at you. We're prepared for them. So permit me to add to this platform what I consider to be a true warrior. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, just unmute your microphone for us and feel free to greet
Greetings,
the
greetings
viewers.
and salutations. How are you?
we, I am very well, thanks. And how are you?
I'm very well, very, very well. Relieved to see you out from under that bridge. I was a little worried
I can only
because
imagine.
that is wow. That
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That bridge, and to know that we do this. Those of us in Linden, sometimes twice daily.
yeah.
Others, those who work the high car
Hmm.
service, the truckers, that would
Yeah.
shuttle the bauxite across the bridge, do it ten times a day, and look at what is before us. I think we can speak to that first, because it's fresh in our minds, and it was a very, very um, eye-opening experience today
Yeah.
to be under this
Yeah.
bridge. Because I know that when you're above it, you can feel the movement of it, but to see it from beneath, and I would be happy to share with you and the viewers some of the images that we were able to capture. Hopefully, Mark Phillips will come to speak to these as well. This first image is of the section where the woman, you can still see the planks, where that young lady and her son, she was dangling from the wire while he fell into the river, Amanza. She told, and that was at night, in the dark of night. Her son fell into the water, 3-year-old boy, baby.
Yeah.
The mother said she instinctively just began to swirl her hand in the water, and her hand, she felt his hair, a little tuft of hair. tough event. She was able to pull him out. Imagine that. Look at this bridge. I want to show you some of the images here and have you speak to it. This is the underside of the bridge. So, of course, those who are driving above don't see this. But it's obvious that for years this has not been washed because you have to first wash it, then you're able to inspect it thoroughly. But it's obvious that it's disintegrating. And we want everyone to see. So let me just show the viewers here. And that's the rotten piece of board that they claim was changed. Green heart, they said, since July. Now we're in September. So in 2 months, they're telling us that green heart, it's a hardwood, we export it. One of the hardest woods. Chainsaws suffer when they try to cut green heart trees down that are really mature. And they still wanted to tell us that this was done in July. Now let me remove this so that you can speak to what you've seen. And just for the viewers to be aware, Mark Phillips, who's now serving as Prime Minister, had the gall to blame this on the mayor and town council. And there are those who peddling that nonsense, that this is the responsibility of the mayor and town council, and they're the ones responsible for the bridge being in this state. Go ahead, my sister, please. You feel free to greet the viewers, and you're muted, and let's speak to
Yes.
this matter.
Hello, everyone, again. Nigel, that is what makes my blood boil. The fact that instead of taking responsibility for this, the first words out of the government's mouth is to blame the mayor and city council. Now,
Yeah.
everybody that is anybody that is over 18 in Linden and even high school children know and understand that the mayor and city council does not effect repairs to the
No.
bridge. They never have. It has always been Linmine and
Mm-hmm.
then more recently, Nissel. I what disturbs me is that people like James Bond and them, who are supposed to be people with some iota of sense, would not even research it before they make pronouncements. Mark, as a prime minister, as a Lindener, to sit there. You know what?
Yeah.
We, as a people of this nation, as the people of this nation, we are going to have to make sure that for the sake of truth and right and decency, that we do our own fact checking. You can believe
Yes.
nothing that comes out of the government's mouth anymore. And the sad reality is you have media houses like Newsroom who just carry it without one iota of fact checking. So they just report what he says as if it is gospel.
And it's
We are
frightening to know that.
we are heading for some serious trouble here, man. Because you know this PPP government, the level of gaslighting that they
Mhm.
do on the people of Guyana is something else. Oh, you didn't see Adriana in the pool. Oh, Ronaldo was
Yeah.
shot by a policeman in a uniform. Oh, and they say it so blatantly, Nigel.
That's the
That
thing.
that that is the thing. There's no shame and so on don't exist in these people's book. Apologies don't exist. Now that he has been so wrongly contradicted, Mark Phillips doesn't even have the decency to come to say to the people of Guyana that he misunderstood or he was misled or he misspoke. Nothing. They lie and they keep it pushing. Lie and cut and go through. And this to me is really flabbergasting. And you know what? All of this ties back into something that we're going to talk tonight about GECOM.
Yes.
Because the PPP has captured the elections machinery. And what are they capturing it to do? to just
That's
inflict
it.
more of their dastardly deeds, more of their sycophancy, more of their gaslighting on the people of Guyana. So all of this turns on us reforming our electoral system, reforming GECOM. And then the biggest issue is the fact that that one in Linden that was forcing the woman to accept money.
Yes, we'll speak about that, please.
But you see the what listeners? The mayor city council is responsible, but Nissil's guy running to try to tell the people to accept money. But it is the mayor city council responsible.
And,
People
and
who
you know what
feel
I said?
affected.
And I'm happy you went there because I asked a question and they had to answer me. I am now beginning to understand or believe that Nissel is so kind that they know that the mayor and town council, as Mark Phillips said, they're saying, listen, the mayor and town council, you're responsible. But we love Lindeners so much that when this woman fell through the bridge, Nissel will take responsibility and give her and offer her some money. They want me to sit and accept that. That is not their fault, but they are they're so caring. And they understand the purpose of covering, as they say, the Bible says, love covers the multitude of sins. So they decide, listen, we're going to cover your sins. So what we'll do, we'll offer $1 million on behalf of the council. Just unmute for me.
Sharma, boy, we got you. We gonna take care of this. It's your fault, but we gonna take care. That is what
Right.
Mark Phillips is essentially saying. And this is simply because, I suppose Mayor Salman was out there last night talking about the bridge and so on and so forth. But I think what was more dastardly is the revelations that you had when last was that bridge sandblasted, yo?
Yeah. Yeah.
When
Look,
last
look, look. The
what is
viewers
going
must the
on?
viewers must see. You see, because when the trucks are passing overhead, because they're carrying the bauxite now, um, they're running from the Cora, I think it is, the Cora,
Mhm.
across the bridge. They don't use trains anymore, so they're using the trucks. When the trucks are passing, of course, some stuff would fall, and it's now going through that, getting onto the on the carriage of the bridge. That's that section here,
Look at
and
that.
you
Look
can
at
see
that.
this.
Look at
You
that.
can see the state of it. All right, they
No,
can see
Nigel,
what is
this
going on here.
you see, they just like to go and shoot and kill Linden people when Linden people stand up in protest and block the bridge. But they neglect this bridge. And if this bridge collapses, they like to talk about the cost to trade and to commerce when
Hmm.
people block the bridge. But what about if that
Right.
bridge collapses? Look at that. And you know for a fact that that is not green heartwood that they use
No,
because we use green hardwood to make piers. These are dipped
decades.
into water and they stand there for decades. So you know it's cockwork that they did on that bridge. You know that. Listen,
And you're going somewhere with this, because they shoot and kill Lindeners
this
for
is the
blocking
point.
that bridge. Look
Yes,
at, I want them to see what they kill us for. No, I'm doing this on purpose, and I'm happy that you went there to say you in the spirit tonight, because they need to see this. Look at what Edgel and others are saying that we should be dead for that right here. Now, the point in my mind, you don't have to shoot us if we block the bridge. It's already about to kill somebody. There's no need to shoot anybody here. The fact that trucks are crossing here with cars and so on behind it, and mind you, Lindeners, this bridge was never constructed to be connected like the Newham Harbor Bridge and those things. It's not a continuous span of anything. The bridge is in sections, and it just rests on those piers. So you have to be very, very careful and mindful that if any slippage occurs because of the lack of maintenance, one section will collapse. They don't care about that. Madam Presidential Candidate, I will call you Madam President in my book in reference to because you function 10 times better than Ali, honestly speaking. The middle span of that bridge that you're seeing here just rests. It's just resting on some piers. Nothing else. It's not bolted to anything. So the bridge flexes. That's what we're dealing with here. So Just unmute. Unmute. I
No,
want
so,
them to hear you.
so it's not, the middle section is not bolted?
No, the bridge is made to function where
Right. Yes.
before
Subsection. Right.
before right before any excessive burden is put on one section, because it was meant for trains to go over. So the train doesn't move slowly. So before
Right.
one section gets too much stress, it's transferred, and that's how you cross the
Yes.
bridge.
And it
What
goes.
they do, the train is no longer running there. So all we have in some instances is just the train lines that is really
Yes.
supporting some of these structures.
Holding that
So what
thing
they
up.
do,
Yeah.
yeah. So what they do is this: the traffic has slowed, so there's more stress on the bridge. And this is
Right.
Mark Phillips and then to understand what's going on here. They in 2005 or somewhere around there 15, they, because I came back home, they had a scale on Wismar Shore.
Yes.
The reason why they implemented that scale, they did that, implementing that system, was because the bridge began to fail. And
And they had
Abdul Kadir and
control.
others,
Yes.
they said 40 tons maximum.
Yes.
Now we having 60 and 70 tonners crossing the bridge when it's in a worse state. Mind you, Manza, the scale is broken to pieces, laying there to be cut and sent somewhere else, I think. No more scale, no more weighing of anything. So when we were under there today, looking up, the brothers got a chance to see firsthand what happens when trucks pass over your head. The bridge is snapping, is almost if it's going to, believe me, I don't want to drive fear in people's heart, but I'm telling you the truth. This bridge can and would snap at any given point in time. It's that bad.
And were those power lines that we saw at the bottom there?
You bet they were, because remember they get the feed from LEC, from our here, and the power
Mm.
from Mackenzie, and it's fed across the river. That's the rumor was dangling
So she was dangling on a power line?
on some high voltage lines that were just in the area. I don't know if she got on the power line, but there were some high voltage lines that passed there, because there's a pump, I think, that would pull water up for the. There's a lot of things happening to feed the Mackenzie water treatment plant, Guyana plant. A whole lot of things are happening over there. So what we're asking Rutherford to do, as Lynn, my secretary, has head, is to come and explain to us. Don't come and offer money to the lady. You come and tell us exactly what happens. You explain to us what happens at that bridge, because the power lines go over there, because it shut at one time. They said, listen, we have to turn the power off for a while and stop traffic, because they have to transfer some new lines, cables across the bridge. That's how Usman gets so much power outage, by the way, because the power lines is sending across it. That's another story. It cannot sustain the load, because they keep extending Wismar. Oh, we're building new houses and house lots, but they don't increase
The
the
electricity
capacity of the
load.
lines. Exactly. So they get blocked out every minute of the day. That's
Because
what's
the
happening.
transmission, the distribution system is.
Correct. We're in trouble in Linden, Amanza. My sister, Linden, is in crisis right now. And one of the major crises that we face is that this bridge will inevitably collapse at some point. If they don't fix it, I'm telling you it will
No,
happen.
no, Nigel. We recall that when the PPP had their rally in Linden, they opened the
Oh,
new bridge.
go there, please. The trestle, they
Yes,
opened it. They opened
and
it.
that is what they used to ferry the thousands of people that they ferried into Linden.
Hmm. Yes, but they cannot give it the same access. Shut the new bridge down for a while, the operation for about 2 weeks or so. Let those who know, like Paul Jones, deal with the old structure. When it's done, we refer, because you have another year or two to deal with this bridge. Maybe a year or so left, as far as I'm aware, to complete this new bridge. But I believe they're just trying to buy some time to say, listen, man, if nobody falls overboard and dies, well, and even if one falls overboard, it's just one life. I honestly, that's what I know the people thinks it. They don't care. They honestly do not care unless it's one of them. And if you're the lower end of the pecking order, you could drown 10 times. They don't care. And you know what they spoke about as well? Because they said that, why were they collecting the toll, the council? That's how daft some people are. And I'll say it because I don't have time tonight. I am so upset that I didn't say anything. So please keep me in check, sis, because this is going to go down here.
I will. I will.
Im- they have the nerve to ask and tell us that the town council was collecting tolls. These people are so crazy. The staff at the bridge are all paid by NISIL. They're employed by NISIL. When Ali said, listen, we'll free up the bridge, free up. The first question people said is, what will happen to the staff at NISIL? Now, how could you say that if it's the town council staff? This man knows that
I know
NISIL
that
reports about the bridge.
I know that there was a profit sharing. There
Exactly.
was a split where the fees, some went to NISIL and some went to the mayor and city council, um, because there were constabulary and other services
Mm-hmm.
maybe happening there. And so the question was indeed asked, about what toll freeing up the toll would take on the cash flow of the mayor city council, because remember already, this is a cash strapped municipality.
Correct.
Taxes are not properly regulated. Garbage disposal fees are not properly regulated. So this was a major revenue earner for the bridge because of some of the services offered as it relates to the operations. But
Right.
having lived in Linden, right? I think I see Theo saying that the town council
It's
gets
20%.
20%,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So let me tell you, we got a tough 5 years ahead of us,
Yeah.
because we will have to hold these people in check every step of the way. And not only that, we have to reform the electoral system so that they don't hijack it to continue to impose suffering and misery upon the people of Guyana whilst they get rich. That is what we
And
have to
what?
continue
Yeah.
to do.
And while we're speaking to the electoral system, I'm aware that for one, you wrote to the Guyana Elections Commission, for the Guyana movement,
Hmm.
and we requested some information from them. Tell us about that, please.
Well, yes, Nigel, what is interesting is that up until today, there has been no written response from GECOM acknowledging even receipt of this mail from Claudette Singh. The only
Wow.
person that responded acknowledging receipt of the mail is Commissioner Vincent Alexander. This was copied to all of the PPP commissioners. It was sent to Claudette Singh. It was also copied to the CEO. None of them acknowledged receipt of it. I called yesterday to GCOM, to the Madam Chair's secretary, and I asked her, I said, I am checking because before I go public with this, I want to give Madam Chair the courtesy of inquiring whether there was some mix up with the email as well as she did. She
Yes.
said, no, we got it. I said, and don't you think, therefore, that Madam Chair, out of just sheer courtesy, should acknowledge receipt of this mail? She didn't answer. I
Wow.
said, well, could you ask Madam to so do? Because I think, it's just the most basic of courtesies that should be extended to a political party from
Oh
GCOM.
my
Up to today,
goodness.
I don't have no official acknowledgement up to today.
And tell the viewers, please, what is it that we wrote about? What is it we
What we
requested?
asked for is a breakdown of a number of things. We want to know how many Commonwealth citizens are registered in Guyana. Because you recall, this came to the fore in the elections when a number of people turned up with nationality Commonwealth. So
I've never
GCOM,
heard of that.
yeah, that's the weirdest thing. But GCOM register these people. GCOM issue these ID cards. So GCOM must know, right?
Yes.
Where they came from, what country they came from, and how many of these cards they have issued. We also have another request for them to disaggregate it by country. And we also want to know how it is that they, under what legal authority they have done this, and we want to know what is the guidance procedure to GECOM staff. I know that the PPP trolls do not understand that not because you ask a question, it does not mean that you don't know the answer.
Right. They, they're
But I
distant from
want
that.
to
They don't
know
understand what you said.
you and I are on the same wavelength, because that will determine the next steps. So GECOM had better be very circumspect with the answers that they gave us, or that they will give us, should any answers be forthcoming. Because we know that the Constitution talks about who are resident and domiciled.
And that's important for us to speak to. And we can't help it. And I know you cannot help it. You should have been a teacher like me. You should have been in the school
Listen,
system.
on a no,
There's a
listen,
difference.
on a sidebar, I taught for one term and then I was like, no, I can't do this. I taught
You
at
see?
one Miles School for one term, Nigel. So
Just
no,
one.
one term.
Well, you're back in the classroom here now. But there's a difference between, and it's important to know that you may be a resident, but you're not domiciled. This is important for people to know. Somebody could be, they resided because they work here, but this is not their home.
Domicile is an entire legal concept, and evidence
Exactly.
has to be adduced to satisfy people that somebody is domiciled. It is a question of intent, and there's a whole legal criteria, right? And this is why the Constitution was specific in what it said. This is why ROPA is specific in what it said,
Yes.
because what it
Yes.
wanted to guard against is population migration flows coming into a country, temporarily disrupting its political direction by skewing results in a particular way and leaving.
Hmm.
And what is important to note is that there is no reciprocity for Commonwealth countries. Guyanese can't go into Commonwealth countries and vote.
No, we cannot
So
vote in Bangladesh. We cannot vote in Jamaica.
we are much more vulnerable because of how small a population we are. Imagine India. Imagine India that has the size of population that it does. Bangladesh. Imagine them just sending or injecting a few thousand people here. Do you see
It
how that
changes everything.
skews up?
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. And so we can't go to Bangladesh and vote. In fact,
No.
Bangladeshis living outside of Bangladesh can't vote.
No.
Indians living outside of India can't vote. Nigerians living outside of Nigeria can't vote. So our legal system is opened up. And the PPP has no interest in closing it. And I see people talking about biometrics.
That's not the real problem.
The problem is not biometrics. The problem is, Nigel, we have a problem in this country in that people do not listen because it depends on who is
On who?
speaking.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
4 years now, I warning about this problem. I believe in certain biblical principles. The blood is off of my shoulders because I warned.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
I have discharged my duty. I said, yeah, pay attention to this thing. And you know what the PPP supporters don't realize is that when you encourage this foolishness, you are making yourself dispensable, because they don't need you if they could
No.
fetch in 6,000 and 7,000 Venezuelans, 10,000 Bangladeshis, and rig the system, which is why right now in Region 2, the rice farmers that voted heavily for them are getting licks for their paddy price. They don't care. They
They
do
don't
not
need
care.
them.
They do not need your vote, because you, by your complicity and your silence, you have diluted your own vote.
I know it's interesting
Sure.
because Faith is something else, divinely orchestrated things. You are in the House of Assembly speaking in what I call our sacred hall. I was outside in the bushes, hollering and saying, "Hey, Bharat, this is madness. Aubrey, this is crazy. Please," I said, Robert Prasad told y'all that there are over 100,000 people here from Venezuela. I said, can you even 60,000 decide to vote? What happens to our country? What I said to them, well, be patient, because one day you may discover that they decided, listen, we'll form a party since we Guyanese. We contest since we Guyanese.
Precisely. And that vulnerability exists because local government elections are coming.
Right
And
around the corner.
remember, local government elections, you don't need to be a political party. A group in a village could come together and
Just a
decide.
group.
Oh man, these guys are so
Oh boy.
irresponsible. They're so irresponsible. And the enablers, the bonds and them who care nothing for the people of Guyana but about themselves and their pockets. You understand? Stand and they say nothing about this. They say nothing about this. I am sure they got people in PPP that love this country. You all are just
I
going to
believe
say
so.
nothing about it. Don't you understand that you are making yourself dispensable when you go down this road? Eh? This is about 5 more years upon them. It's 5 more years
On
upon
who?
all of me.
Exactly. On them.
And hey, not me, because the
No,
PPP are my source.
no, exactly. Because you know the reality, Guyanese, and you're listening to us tonight. This is your reality. It may be outlandish, but it's your reality. The Bangladeshis, the Venezuelans, the Nigerians, the Brazilians, the Surinamese can get together and decide we'll form a group, since we all have Guyanese ID cards, and we call ourselves the New Era Party, the NEP. Will contest in 2030, and they may likely win or have seats in House Assembly because they call Commonwealth citizens. And some of them are called Guyanese, not Commonwealth citizens. Because let's not forget, Amanzi, you spoke to this about the amendment that was made to the Registration of Births and Deaths Act, and it benefited the PPP. Yet again, but that's a reality whereby somebody could now become Guyanese, legit Guyanese, which gives them the right to be a president.
We don't have the caveat that says you must be a born Guyanese to be
Oh my
president.
God. Oh Lord, help us tonight.
Hello. So so you see, this is what we talk about, the level of uh just recklessness that this government has engaged in. They have literally, and you know what? You know what is troubling? They know it, you know. They know.
Yeah, that's
They
that's the
know.
danger right there.
They know it, you
That's the
know.
trouble.
They know, but they prefer to hide their consciences because the conscience is seared with hot iron. So they prefer to pretend like they don't know. And all this time, they're feathering their nests overseas. So if the proverbial feces hit the proverbial fan, them boys up on the private planes and
Yeah.
they are gone. Meanwhile, the Guyanese that hollering 5 more years. eh, Nigel, this is serious.
Yeah.
This is serious. He who hath an ear to hear, let him hear what is being said. Let them
Yeah.
see who have eyes to see what is being done here. Where are
We
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 going to go? Where are we going to
where?
go? This is our country. Like, where are we going to go? Where's the ordinary guy and he's going to go? Can we not
Mind
look?
you,
Can we not see what's happening?
most of us do not speak Spanish, so we can't head to Venezuela. And if Venezuela decide to do certain things, we definitely can't go there. We don't speak Dutch, so we're gonna live in Suriname. Where are we going? We don't speak Portuguese. It's not compulsory throughout high school or schooling. So where are we going? We are the only English speaking country in South America. So where are you going? And how many of us can go anywhere?
I warned. I warned. I said, look, When you talk about foreign relations, Nigel, the paradigm to govern is to populate. To populate is to govern. We left the
Absolutely.
Essequibo wide open. We don't
Absolutely.
incentivize people moving to the Essequibo. We don't do any of that. We have instead given ID cards to people who believe that this country
Oh
is
my
theirs.
God.
Do we understand what is happening? And people were saying, oh, we're alarmist. But we saw it play out in the
Yes.
election. We saw how Commonwealth voters skewed this entire thing. And I bet that GECOM is not going to be forthcoming with information.
And you've asked of them, we've asked of them, and it's important for us to reiterate what was asked of GECOM. Claudette Singh, tell us how many Commonwealth nationals were registered to vote. You also mentioned the fact, and it makes sense, separate them. Don't say 10,000. Say 2,000 Nigerians, 1,500 Venezuelans. Give us that figure. Let us know from which countries they were, Bangladeshis and Indians. You didn't even receive, we have not received even a response from Claudette Singh, even an acknowledgement. I mean, it can't be that disrespectful.
Claudette and answer we, man. Claudette
Wow.
probably thinking, why gonna tell these people here really? Like, what am I going to tell them really?
And
And
Claudette's problems are further. Go ahead.
I want to make a point. We might be doing GECOM a disservice. Why do I say that? That voters list is compiled by GECOM. What do I mean by that? GECOM gets its data from 2 or 3 different sources. This is
Yes.
why I said, Nigel, in my last address to the National Assembly, that they have rigged this thing from at the General Registrar's office, where
Yes.
Jill brother sit
Yes.
down.
You did say that.
Because GECOM has to, when a birth certificate or a late registration is presented to them, they must register that person. GECOM is not authorized to go behind that birth certificate or that late registration. So
Cannot
the General
interrogate.
Register's Office, the Bureau of Statistics. Now, Now, those sources have already been compromised. And the basic rule of data processing is garbage in, garbage out. So
Garbage
if it
out.
is contaminated at the level of the General Registrar's Office, if it is contaminated at the level of the Bureau of Statistics, GECOM can only give us a contaminated
Oh my
product.
God.
And biometrics will not help. And this is what people
No.
got to understand. 5 years ago, biometrics would have helped.
Not now.
They help now because they are already in the system and they are who they say they are. So if you put the fingerprint, it's going to match. So it is not a question of, you
Wow.
realize that what they have done, they've moved the rigging from voter impersonation to padding of the list.
That's it. Aptly put.
So they have engineered population. So they've
Yeah.
moved from impersonation to engineering of the population. That is what they've done. And
Yeah.
they've done
Yeah.
it, for all to see. They're issuing EIDs. Now, how interesting is it?
Look at when. Look at when. But there's some more challenges we have to talk about tonight involving GECOM again, because something has come. And you see, at my age, I try to say that certain things are impossible because I lived in Guyana for too long. I'm 51 years old and I'm saying, man, this can't be happening for like this, like we call it bladder. They can't know. Back in my mind, you just don't do certain things. So, so forgive me, viewers, if I cannot relate to certain behaviors because I can't.
But Nigel, there's one other point that we gotta make. CARICOM had better sit down and take notice.
Oh, oh.
Because by becoming Guyanese, these people are now accessible to the CARICOM free trade, to the
Right.
Shagorama's provision. So, so you, do we understand?
Oh
Do
boy.
we understand? Eh? So they're now able to move freely because there's the CARICOM
Free movement of
free
skill and
movement
trade.
of skills,
Wow.
right? So 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 just like we have banned Haiti, we could end up in the same situation with other CARICOM islands
Yeah.
because we have eroded access to our citizenship to such a degree that anybody now can get it, and from there impact other
Yeah.
CARICOM member states.
Wherever you want to
Irfaan
go.
Ali,
Yeah.
Jack Dio, and them, it's not that they don't think, it's that they understand it, but they just do not care. They don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. It works. It works in their favor until it doesn't any longer. This right here, I'll show the viewers something very interesting. And I'm asking you all to please take your time and look at this one. Because there's a Fred Sanford called a big one here. The official gazette. It's official. We'll ask her, I call her she's she's our president in terms of how she functions. Because the level of responsibility that she speaks with. But the leader of Ford Ghana movement has a legal mind and can break this down to even a child. What does this official gazette mean? Because Vishnu Prasad has signed this, and this has been disseminated across this nation. So let's begin with what is the official gazette, and then we talk to what is on the screen, please.
Well, the official gazette is the official source of legal citation for any document that you see published therein. For example, certain things do not take effect until they are gazetted. So, for
Correct.
example, the proclamation dissolving parliament had to be gazetted.
Gazetted.
If I am to adduce evidence of a fact, the most authoritative source of that in a court is the official gazette.
Lord help us tonight.
And
All right.
so,
So when you're teaching me here, because I'm going to be a student here, right? We're teaching me here. I'm one of those who don't have any clue. Is that whatever I'm about to read on this screen is official. This is it. This is the Bible of
this
truth when it comes
is
to
a
public
statement
information.
of fact that could be adduced to the world.
Okay. So geographic constituency 10, the official gazette states that the total number of valid votes is 21,009. Total number of rejected ballots 186. But when you add the number of votes, you have 26,000 votes cast. Madam, please. I call you sister here now. Please. No, no, you need to please help me to understand this is the official gazette.
Listen to
This
me.
information can be used in the court of law or evidence.
From today, you know the people. So, give you this joke, right? Some years ago in Parliament, I stood up and I was making an emphatic point, Nigel, and I was going in and I had up wrong, right?
Right.
I had wrong. I was
Just so you
talking
don't know
about
math.
Christina. And
Right.
this is why I labeled it hashtag Christina Mats.
Oh.
Yes, that is where that hashtag came from. Because the PPP don't understand that, listen, I grew up in a house with brothers and sisters, and we are masters of laughing at ourselves.
Oh yeah.
so,
Same here.
so, you know what I'm saying? So, it's Christina Mats. Because they cannot account for the votes. Where these
This
votes
is
come from?
serious.
Where these votes come from?
5,000, that's the whole seat you're looking at.
A whole seat, a whole seat, a whole seat, an entire seat. And even if you look at spoiled ballots, it don't even add back
No.
and reconcile.
You know what, my sister? One of the observers asked me a question, and it makes sense to me now. The lady looked at me after election, that's post-election. She said, please, if you want to talk. She said, is it the Guyanese don't know how to vote? I said, why do you say that? She said, because we cannot understand how so many ballots are just spoiled or rejected. I said, why? She said, this is unusual activity. How could you have all these voter education programs and so by GECOM, and then suddenly on the day, mostly she said, not just that, the presiding officers guide you through the process. Because I experienced it and I went around to hear them say it. When you please ensure you put your X in the box, they tell you all of that. They didn't tell you that if you put it anywhere else, it still be counted. Went through all of that. And then she said, how could so many ballots still be considered spoiled or rejected?
But
They asked the question.
but in addition to that, GCOM had thousands of cases where there were spoiled ballots, but the ballots were not in the spoiled ballot envelopes.
Oh my goodness me.
So our
So,
elections agent reported this, that they couldn't find the ballots that were
how,
spoiled.
how can you not find ballots? The law is that Roper states they have to be in the envelope.
My brother,
Every ballot must be accounted for.
the ballots. You understand? They can't find the ballots. And then pull up back the visual.
We have to.
Look. Region 10, the PPP get 9,938 votes.
Oh
In
Lord.
Region 9, the PPP also had 9,938 votes.
How is that even possible? How, Barrett?
You
How is
realize
that possible?
you realize what happened here, right?
So there had to be a particular number that you arrive at, if you ask me.
The PPP reverse engineered this thing. And they knew that to achieve that 36 seat story, certain numbers had to be yielded certain places. They reverse engineered this thing, Nigel. Election petition got a file.
Must. Because this is the official gazette, and we have to repeat this. This is not Forward Ghana movement presenting something to you. Please understand this, viewers. This is not what they call us, the PNC surrogate, whatever number they said. No. Whatever you want to call it. This right here is the official gazette signed by Vishnu Prasad. And I just want to show another. Look at the bottom here. See that at the bottom of that screen? That image? That's Vishnu Prasad signed that. Signed it. And this is the comparative analysis that we're doing. And we've noticed that the exact number of people, according to them, who voted in Region 9, in terms of ballots for the PVP, voted in Region 10. What are the chances on this side of heaven that that would ever happen? Let's not forget that in the voters list, remember, we also spoke to that certain regions had very, very similar numbers. Somebody engineered the results of these elections.
This is the point. This is an absolute fact. This is an absolute fact.
To avoid a minority government, if you ask me, or avoid being out of government.
Out of government.
But we're loud. I hope that others will join the choir. Now, this is a duet. I hope that some of y'all will have to form a choir, because this is too glaring.
Yeah.
This is way too glaring. This is obvious. You don't make mistakes in official gazettes, by the way.
Win and APNU have to step up now. ALP, AFC, they're all political parties.
Everyone who participated.
Now. This is problematic. This is an insult to the people of Guyana. This is an insult to our intelligence. And you have the unmitigated gall to be celebrating about 5 more years pon them. Who's pon them? Who's the them? Who is the them?
Exactly.
We are all Guyanese here. And when we stand in the National Assembly and we take an oath, we don't take an oath to political party. We take an oath to uphold the constitution of the Cooperative Republic of
Yes.
Guyana. So who is pon
Yes.
them? It is such a betrayal. Oh my. You saw the lights flicker there,
I
Nigel.
did. I
It,
did. I
it
did.
may go. It may go.
Oh my God.
What is 5 more years pon them? What is that? Hmm?
And Irfan Ali, because Ghana is never without a president, there's certain things we have to teach people over the next few years. We must always have a president. The president doesn't vacate office because of elections. There must be a commander in chief at all times.
There must be. There has
He
to
he
be.
stepped into GECOM at the recount process. That's how dishonorable this creature is. He just walked in. The people working at GECOM and the head of state should not have been there. That's my view in the first place. He went to check on people who they count and see
Then comes
whether
out,
you return.
I'm a candidate, and then he attacks
Ah,
Travis Chase.
there you go. We go into the press. Look at the attack on Travis, and he has a view that he's supposed to be called Mr. President. I don't know who did this boy in. Sorry,
Yeah, Nigel.
I'm
All
speaking
right.
right now. I,
All right.
I do not know who did whatever they did for Irfan to not know the laws of this country. There is no constitutional instruction you have to call him the president. No, it's formal and proper in parliament and certain spaces.
In
But I don't have
Parliament,
to call him president.
we're not allowed to call him. We're not. You're not allowed to refer to the president in Parliament. This is why,
You
if you
speak
look when
to his rep.
I say he who will not be named, so that people know that I'm talking about Irfan, right? So
See that? He was
this
aggressive towards Travis,
he was
a
disrespectful.
journalist.
He
And did
was
he invite the
disrespectful.
journalist Travis too? The very first press conference now, because we issued a statement to that effect as well. The first press conference held by Irfan Ali, he decided certain people would not be invited.
Must not come.
And we wrote about that. Let us please speak to that because this has a lot to do with what we expect. Even from this broadcast, will they report what we discussed tonight?
I. It is disturbing, but what I want to say is this: the PPP has generally been very skittish when it comes to international exposure. Irfan Ali has a massive ego.
Yeah.
He has a massive ego. And so he believes and he knows he can be president again. So you are going to see the worst of
Oh,
this human being. You're going to see the worst of this guy in the next 5 years because he has a big ego, but he has a short temperament. And he can only pretend for so long to be affable and amiable, before
right,
his real
right,
side comes
right.
out. He is no longer interested or responsive to international scrutiny. Because in the past, reporters without borders would, to issue such a
Hmm.
strong statement, you would have seen
Right.
a check. Not Irfan. Irfan has doubled down.
He doesn't have to care.
He does not have to care. And he will excoriate anybody that he needs to. He will disrespect whomever because he believes that he is now infallible. But he must remember that the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends always towards justice and what is right
Yeah,
and what is good. Do you understand what I mean?
yeah.
So the fact that he don't care. The people just say, please reset the relationship. He don't invite them. He don't invite media houses. Dictatorship 101. You attack
Absolutely.
the freedom of the
Of the
press.
press.
When you attack the freedom of the press and you attack the independence of the press, you control the quality and type of information. Soon you are going to see them taking down lives and banning certain social media
Yeah.
feeds, etc.
Yeah.
Look
The
for it.
threat has
That's
already been
what
made.
is coming next. And they're going to do it
Because
under the
yeah,
guise of it is quote unquote spreading misinformation.
he spoke to that at the inauguration of the swearing in ceremony. And I found it very, very telling that on the day when he claims to be in his glory, performing the best in decades, when they did the worst to Guyanese, 23 Burnt Life in Madia, Adriana Young, or in Boston, Quindon Bacchus, they did the gods who sell house and land to buy house in the US, and all kinds of story was on the table. And Irfan stood there to speak to who speaks on social media. Come on. I have never had a president in this country do that on that day. Just unmute for me. You mute it.
Because the PPP, they're deathly afraid of exposure. And
Yeah.
so they want to, it's a tricky situation because they're prepared to disregard international exposure, but they know that Guyanese people are not stupid, and so they know that the, you know what bothers them the most is that the feigned adulation and respect, they know it's not genuine,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it
Yeah, Mr.
bothers him
President, yeah.
down to
Yeah.
his soul. He knows the emperor knows that he's naked. He knows that he is naked,
Yeah, yeah. That's true. That's quite true.
right?
That's quite
But
true.
he wants to scare you into not telling him that he's naked. And he has the dilemma because he know that you're looking at him and smiling and thinking this naked cat.
Right. Yeah, I believe he knows it. And he's also well aware of his I call it his intellectual dwarfism. And that's because you hear I'll be as nice as
Absolutely.
possible.
You
He's aware
know,
of it. So he
and
knows certain people, if you ask him a question, it's finished. He can't answer.
yeah, it's
So
it's
keep
it's
them
it's
out.
incredible. It's incredible, um, the journey that we're on. But you know, I'm a David Rudder fan.
Hmm.
David says, but even in this loud desperation and raging despair, the good people gotta let them know.
Yeah.
And it is the good people of Guyana that will have to stand up and do this. And I keep saying to our people, to our Guyanese people, we can't outsource this struggle.
No, I
We
love that.
outsource this struggle. This is our struggle. You can't delegate it. We have to fight this fight. We have to fight this fight. And let me tell you, you see what happened in Nepal when people decide that they had enough
Yeah.
and are waiting for the ERC to call me to tell me that I'm inciting violence?
It's, oh, tell me about it. And it can go either way. When people have had enough, they do many things.
And so, even in this loud desperation and raging despair, we gotta let them know. We gotta let them know that we can't take it no more. If we don't be deliberate in what we do in the next few months, and this is why the court case that we have brought is so important,
Yes.
right? You know, we take a lot of costs when we did
But
it,
now, but now,
right? We took a lot of costs when we did it. But now people are beginning to understand that you have to ask questions, you have to demand answers, you have to put the system on trial.
Well said.
And Nigel, that is all that we can do.
I'm grateful that you're doing it and that we're doing it so well, doing it together. Continuing to stand very, very strongly in reference to the integrity of us as a people, the goodness of our land. Guyana is a beautiful nation. I know that we love her so much, and that is why we do what we do. We've not crossed floors to go anywhere. We've not sold our souls for anything. We've not made any deal to betray our people. And I say our people, meaning Guyanese people, not African descendants. But we continue to stand. We have not been spiteful to say to anybody, well, we don't care what happens to you. After all, we living. No, we continue to stand. And I would that viewers would pay careful attention to that which has been discussed tonight, because these areas you'll see more of the expounding, the speaking to these matters in greater detail.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because in the not too distant future, you'll see the court matter being heard. I think maybe you can update viewers on that,
Yes,
because of course
absolutely.
we have
We'll
four gang
issue a
supporters here
statement tomorrow. We had case management last Wednesday because, of course, we filed an appeal. We filed
Mhm.
an appeal immediately because we believe that strongly in the strength of our case, and so we have up to the 24th of September to file what we call submissions, because we're going to do written submissions for the court to decide, and then the matter is going to be heard on the 1st of October.
Wonderful. Thank you so
And
much for the
so
update.
I think it's going to elucidate a lot of issues and shed light on a number of issues that we want to make sure that there's clarity. Let me tell you something, Nigel, and I will say to the people of Guyana: building a country is serious work.
Yes, it
Building
is.
a country in the right way is hard work. And if we are going to do it, let us do it right. If we're going to
Yes,
set the foundation, let us set the foundation right. Because we do not want our children to have to go to dig up back to rebuild
yeah,
properly.
yes,
And
yes,
so these clarifications of the law are important. These testing of these principles are important. And if Anil Nandlal believes that he's going to inveigle his way to cause the court to impose costs on us, to prevent us, he got another thing coming. If we got to do
absolutely.
fundraising and car washes and barbecues and rub together the pennies that we have, we going to
We
march up
shall.
the step. We are going to march up the court step because that is why taxpayers pay judges.
Yes, to
You
answer and to
understand?
give
We
guidance.
don't pay the judges. This is our taxpayer money that pay the judges. And the CCJ was very clear in the Christopher Jones case that you cannot impose costs on persons who are seeking clarification on constitutional duties. In fact, they said these people are people who are doing a public
A
service.
service. That's correct. That's correct.
That is what the court said. And can you imagine if we have a court system that would impose $2 million cost on a teacher,
On a
a
teacher.
oil economy? And there's no shame. There's no shame in this government. An oil economy earning 10 million US dollars per day would seek to punish. And it is so disgusting
Mm.
to hear Anil Nandlal stand in a court. Anil Nandlal, Nigel, you were sitting right there
Yes,
when
I
Anil
was.
Nandlal stood up and said
He,
there's no fundamental right to vote. Do
that
you remember?
man, listen, I
Huh?
remembered. I could.
Do you remember?
I had a first-hand view of what that creature is, and it's just
And then
unfortunate.
to see that he would actively, now mind you, the Attorney General and Minister Natural of Justice is the custodian of the Constitution. And you would advocate punitive damages for a citizen who comes to
Oh my
clarify
Lord,
her constitutional rights.
a
That is where we
constitutional
are in
matter.
this country.
That's where we are. And let's not forget that he said he had his campaign. He's in the court instead of representing the interests of us Guyanese and the Constitution. He
Yes,
said,
yes.
"Listen,
There's
you
a
pull
waste
me
of
for my
time, man. I
campaigning. I
have
got you
campaign to
waste my
run.
time. I got things to do." And he did go to run his campaign. I think the next day or a few days after to say that coffee was a proud and an upstanding house slave. That's he left us to go to say. I don't forget things, and I tell you that. And I would, anyway, I don't forget. But I'm grateful for this sister who is sitting here beside me, who continues to represent this nation. I know that their eyes upon you and upon Ford Ghana movement that are across this world, and they've all spoken to the quality that we've offered. And that will always resonate within me. That people spoke to the quality of people we are. That is telling. We've continued to be that. Even post elections, we remain that. We continue to stand for the right of all Guyanese. And I will continue to say that I could not have stood beside a better person to do that which I have to do. Your closing remarks, my sister, before we depart.
Deeply moved. Thank you for that, Nigel. I appreciate you. I appreciate just the opportunity to serve. Thanks to the people that stood and supported us.
Yes.
You know, um, we accomplished something that a lot of people didn't think was possible, and we continue to defy expectations. Um, will not sit there and say it has all been rosy, etc.
Right.
Through many dangers, toils, and snares we have come. you know, but we continue to operate out of
Yes.
love for the people of Guyana.
Yes.
And I wish I could say to the people of Guyana that it's going to be easy in the next coming months. It's not going to be.
No, it would not.
All we can promise you is that we're here to walk through this with you. I will end by saying we can't outsource the struggle. We can't outsource the struggle. Some battles you just gotta fight, and the people of Guyana gotta fight for this nation.
Right.
You understand? We have to demand accountability. We got to demand truth. We got to demand justice. We got to demand what is right. And a lot of people would say, oh, just give in. It's easier to, and of course,
No.
they got a lot of money going around. And so a lot of people are yielding to the temptation and so on and so forth. So why not just have an easy life?
We can't.
But David Rudder said, even in this loud desperation and raging despair, the good people said no. The good people say no. And so we're going to have to work hard in the coming months. We're going to have to call on every Guyanese. And I will say this to the Guyanese people: stop asking, what are you all doing? We
That's
are
good.
you all.
Yes. 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 Thank you.
We are you all. And you've got to hold leaders accountable, and you have got to show up when your leaders require you to show up. Because to the degree that you don't show up, you undermine the people that you ask to do something about what you're facing. You got to show up. And we've got to understand that there is enough in this country, Nigel. There's enough in this country for Guyanese to live in dignity, man. Why do we
Yes.
have to beg and grovel and sell our souls to get by? No, no, no. I cannot accept that. I refuse to accept that. I refuse to accept that. And so we got to keep at it. We've got to keep bringing the facts to the people. I have tremendous respect for the people of Guyana, which is why I tell people, me don't like the Guyanese people. I give them the
Yeah.
facts, and I make sure that they are given the courtesy of a decision. You
Yes.
decide. You decide in your life every day. You decide how to manage your budget and whatever. You decide. These are the facts. You make your choice.
Yes.
And so, we're going to be coming, far more often. We want to say thank
Definitely.
you. to all the people that supported. We're in the process of wrapping up the campaign. One of the things that we don't play about is finances. So we're dealing with the auditors and getting all of that done so that we get our reports in and so on. And you remember, we're a small core of people. So a lot of us are multitasking, you know, and we got
Yeah,
$1 billion yet. So, it
right.
takes a little while longer for us to get some things done. But certainly, we are here. We're in here for the long haul. And God bless us and God bless this cooperative Republic of Guyana, this beautiful, beautiful
Indeed.
country. Nigel, what are your closing remarks? Let me interview you now. Your closing remarks.
I I just give them that I'm certainly pleased to know that uh, the People's Movement, and I speak on behalf of our National Executive Council, we continue to be enthused by the possibility of what tomorrow holds for this nation. Should coalitions of this nature continue to function as effectively, genuinely, and uprightly as we do, we cannot afford to ever become so discouraged that we do not act. What I love about Forward Ghana movement and the nature of people who are inspired by us is that they've observed that though we speak to what is, as ill as it may be, we always have the will to pursue something better. And that is what keeps hope alive in our nation. And will continue to do so. We aren't prepared to cower. We aren't prepared to kowtow and bow to anyone to say that you've won. We quit. We do not quit over here. Um, the record would show that because of our resilience, because of how much we stood for and what we stood for, I believe that the future will reward us, and handsomely too. We must continue to stand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sitting and being quiet is not an option. The louder we speak to that which is not right, I think the more would be the feet that join in the struggle. I thank you, Guyanese brothers and sisters. Together we move forward. We're moving
Appreciate y'all.
forward, never backward.
Forward.
Much love.
Right.
Bye bye, y'all.
Blessings. Bye bye.
Bye.